Well, it's been a heck of a lot of fun to be invested in gold and silver over the last year, over the last 6 months, right? Wrong. We know it has been painful, but is there a big lie being told right now that when the herd, right, when the rest of the crowd realizes what we likely already know, when they realize that, could that provide rocket fuel for the price of the precious metals? There's a lot going on out there, guys, but one thing I think we can say for sure is that there's a big fib being told to the market. Now, we're a little ahead of the curve, right? We're basement dwellers. We like to dwell on things and try to figure things out, go a little deeper than the average bear. But when the rest of the group realizes what we likely already realize, we could be in for some very, very good times. Let's talk about it right now. We're going to talk about the big lie, but first, let's talk about the pain we've endured, right? Over the last 6 months, we have seen gold drop from $2,100 per ounce all the way down to close to $1,600 per ounce, $500 decrease in the price of gold, and it has not been any better when we look at silver. Ever feel like you're the only person who likes to dive deeper into these subjects? Like the only person that says, yeah, but hey, it's not easy not being a part of the herd all the time, but you're never alone. You can always come to Ron's Basement. We like to dive a little deeper, get into the deep end of the pool. So if you enjoy my content, please come back. You can subscribe right here. Turn on the little bell so you get notified every single time. You don't want to miss anything. And leave a comment in the comment section below. That's most important, that you share your thoughts, share your ideas. We want to learn from you, and we really do want to get to know you. Now let's get back to the video. And what's causing all this pain that we have to endure? Have you looked at a 6-month chart of the US dollar? Have you looked at a 6-month chart of the 10-year Treasury bond? Those are the main culprits. Like it or not, that's what the herd follows. Interest rates are going up, right? Have you heard them say that? Interest rates are going up, so that means gold is going to go down. Gold is going down because of the strong dollar. Okay, great. But what's causing the dollar to go up? What's causing interest rates to go up? The Federal Reserve is causing them to go up. But you know what? It's all a big lie, or very likely all a big lie. And how could we say that? How could we accuse our esteemed Jerome Powell in the United States Federal Reserve, that wonderful privately owned bank, how could we ever suspect that they might not be telling us the truth? Well, it just takes a simple glance into history to see that they've basically never told the truth. Think back a year ago. They were telling us inflation was transitory. We aren't going to raise interest rates. Well, maybe sometime in 2023. All types of miscalculations and blatant lies have been told by the Fed for decades. But suddenly we should believe them? Well, the herd certainly thinks so, right? Like, oh, well, if I saw it on CNN, the children's news network, then it has to be the truth. Like, suddenly we're going to believe that the Fed has changed their course altogether and is now telling us the truth. It'd be like if you had a kid and the kid constantly lied to you when you asked them what happened. Wouldn't you, like, after a while start to think, maybe I can't trust this kid? I don't know. How do you feel about this? Am I crazy? Should we just believe what the Fed tells us? Am I a tinfoil conspiracy hat theorist sitting in my basement? Or is it true that when we look at the facts, why would we? Why would you believe the Fed? Why would you suddenly start to believe right now that they're telling the truth? And the big lie is, or likely could be, that they really are not trying to fight inflation. And the reason why we can say that, or we can examine that, or look at that theory, is because mathematically if the Fed fights inflation, if the Fed keeps rates going up and up and up, and they actually did get inflation under control, and we have rates at 5% or maybe even higher than that right now, the U.S. government, all the debt just in the government, but not to mention the debt held by individuals on credit cards and everything else, mortgages, all the corporate debt, it would collapse the system. The only option they really have is to inflate away the debt. So they may be telling us, oh, we're fighting inflation. Doesn't it make you a little suspicious that they are so vocal, so boisterous about the fight on inflation, and we're going to get inflation under control, it's our top priority? It just raises some red flags within my mind that maybe there's something more going on several different levels. But mathematically, to put forward the thesis that the Fed is going to get inflation under control, they're going to raise rates, so it collapses the whole system. And they don't want that. The elites don't want that. I call BS. I don't think the Fed is really trying to fight inflation. And when the herd, when they wake up, right, and they realize oh, you know what? Inflation's not going away, and it doesn't really matter that rates are 5%. I need to get my money into something that will hold its value over time. Well, guess what? Sitting over in the corner, our friend, right, gold, it's bruised and battered. We know that. Silver, same thing, will become a much more attractive investment opportunity, and it's not going to take a lot. I hate to have to repeat this to you, but 0.5% of the investable capital in the world, that's one out of every $200, is invested in precious metals and related investments. If just 1%, so one more out of every $200 comes into the sector, that would be, yes, that's right, twice as much money. It would be happy days again for us who are invested in gold, who are invested in silver, who are invested in the precious metal mining stocks, because we want safety and security. Now, we know it hasn't felt that way for the last 6 months, 1 year, even 2 years. But on a long-term horizon, silver and gold have always held their value. What do the central banks own? What do all the central banks? Almost all, but pretty much all of the central banks throughout the world in the major developing countries, what do they own? They own gold. So don't listen to what they say. Look at what they do. Thanks for joining me here in the basement. I'm sorry, sometimes I get a little excited, but I really appreciate you being here. Take care of yourself, and until next time, be well.